I have a hot take that's going to burn this whole podcast down. It's going to be great.
That's coming up?
Yep, it's coming up.
Should we start this with that hot take?
Sure. Only the USB Type-C AirPods Max get it while the cable is attached.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
And so obviously, so the Lightning one doesn't support it. Most of the AirPods Max out there are the Lightning one, but okay, these $550 headphones finally got lossless audio.
Oh boy.
Updating my LinkedIn profile.
My hot take
Currently looking
is
bridge.
What is up, people of the internet? Welcome back to another episode of the Waveform podcast. We're your hosts. I'm Marques.
I'm Andrew.
And I'm David.
We're all back in the same room to talk about a variety of things.
Wow.
A true grab bag of chaotic things in tech that have happened in the last week. Everything from a mixed reality headset to a weird backwards foldable to a massive AirPods Max update out of nowhere to dub dates to maybe another folding phone coming soon.
Mm-hmm.
It's all here. And then, of course, we'll end with our crown or clown.
And clown.
Game, crown and clown.
Because we're doing both.
Right. Which is, perfect for the end of the month.
Yes.
Yeah.
But first, can I start with a video shout out?
Okay.
We do this every once in a while. We do some content. But there's this video this week called I Built a PlayStation, which for audio listeners, and probably even video listeners right now, that probably sounds really confusing. It is spelled PLAYSTACEAN.
Crustacean.
Like crustacean.
Uh-huh.
It is by someone named Ginger of Oz, and they built a PS1 that looks like a crab. That is the easiest way I can describe this, but it is incredible.
You know how everything eventually... Yeah. So there's a thing. We talked about this on a podcast long ago, on a podcast very far away. There is a theory in science where everything eventually turns into a crab, and it's called carcanization. The PlayStation has had its time.
Speed runs directly to crab.
It's finally evolved into the crab.
So this is a PS1 ONE, not the first PlayStation, but they made like a smaller adaptation of it later on.
Confusing.
So it's a little more like curved. And I guess there was an art project someone made online, and this Ginger of Oz guy decided to 3D render it and model it and print it. It's great. The video is really well done. It shows how he did all the things. This has a working disc tray, working controller ports. The claws in the front of it have two working PS1 controllers with the sticks and R and L buttons on top of it. It's incredible, and it totally works. And I really think you should go watch the video. We'll link it in the show notes. It's a work of art, though.
Big meaty claws. Meaty claws.
Very cool.
It's also like the claws are attached, so if you use that as a controller, you have to play within 6 inches of the actual console.
And holding hands with the crab the entire
holding
time.
hands with the crabs while it's like staring you in the face.
Do they actually work?
Yeah, everything works. It's all like bendable, like all of these arms rotate and everything. It's really well done.
That's epic.
You know what's funny? When I opened this doc and I saw that picture, it did not register that it was a PlayStation. I was just like, someone has like a toy crab. That's cool.
I was laughing because Marques was like, we have a chaotic episode, and just on my screen is a crab PlayStation sitting in the document. One other video that came out, in case you haven't seen, was from a little creator we know as David Amell.
Wow, little.
Got him.
Never mind, don't watch it. Yeah, he's too
Did
small.
I stutter?
Yeah. Sorry, we don't punch down around here.
Yeah.
No, you released a GFX 100 RF review.
I did.
Yeah. Do you want to give us a little a big TLDR?
Big TLDR.
And then everyone else can go watch it if they're interested.
Cool. Thank you.
You're welcome.
For sharing that. So I made a camera video. It is the GFX 100 RF, which is a rangefinder style fixed lens medium format camera. That is the official meaning of RF. Rangefinder style fixed lens.
Mm-hmm.
Very Japanese. But basically it is a fixed lens medium format digital camera, which we haven't really seen before. There's one from Phase 1 that is horrible and costs $63,000.
I remember Phase 1. Wow.
Yeah.
Yeah.
People kind of universally say that you should never buy that.
No, you shouldn't.
But the RF is interesting because if you knew about the X100 series, which was very popular for many years, and then the X106 came out, we have a video on the studio channel about it. This is like a medium format version of that camera. It looks very similar. It has a few extra features, but the overall consensus is that I think that this camera is sort of for two groups of people. It is for existing film photographers or people that used to shoot film because it has this really cool extra feature called an aspect ratio dial that is on the back of the camera that emulates a bunch of the old aspect ratios of film cameras. So it has like 6:4:5, 6:7, 65:24, 6:17. Does not have 6:24 because Fuji was not insane enough to make that. But yeah, it's super cool. I think the two groups of people that it's sort of for are street photographers because basically what the camera is, it's a medium format 100 megapixel sensor that has a large wide lens mounted to it. Well, not large. It has a wide lens mounted to it. So it's kind of like take the photo in general and then reframe.
Crop later. Yeah.
Yeah, crop later. So either you're a film photographer who you want to use the aspect ratio dial to like compose in camera, and then you take the photo in the same aspect ratio that you would take a film photo, or you're like a street photographer who wants to use it to run around taking photos of things on the street or, street work, and then also crop later and still have a lot of resolution. So yeah, it is $4,900. I released a little video about it.
Whenever you do a camera video, I'm like, that thing costs too much.
Yeah.
I'm not even remotely close to the person.
It's interesting. It's the cheapest medium format camera that Fujifilm sells. It's pretty much the cheapest medium format digital camera on the market that you can buy new. Its biggest competition is the Leica Q3. And the reason for that is that it's basically the only other fixed lens digital camera that is full frame or larger. The two things that people are yelling at each other about on the internet about this, because of course people just need to argue about something.
Fair. That's why we get views on this podcast.
Yeah. The RF does not have image stabilization and the lens is f4. And a lot of people, when I went to Utah to use it, and it was a little bit difficult when the light got low because I like to shoot at blue hour, which is the hour after golden hour where it starts to get darker. And without a wider aperture, you definitely have to push the ISO up a little bit. You can just change it to black and white mode if you want to do that, and it looks kind of fine.
Film grain.
Yeah. And then I think that people have just gotten really used to optical image stabilization. But the body of this camera is only a little bit bigger than the X100 which is an APS-C camera. Wow. So the fact that they were able to fit a sensor way bigger in there. I talked to some people who designed the camera because I flew to Prague, bought some plane tickets, bought some hotels, flew to Prague so I can talk to the Fujifilm team that worked on the camera. And they said that if they had even made it f3.5, the mount would have been bigger than the size of the body. So if that is true, I understand why it's f4. But I think this is for a very specific group of people. And anyway, I made a video about it. The video talks about aspect ratios and why the film aspect ratios are the way they are. And it's on my YouTube channel.
I have a question for you.
Yeah.
How high do you think you could push the ISO and it still is usable?
That's kind of hard. I mean, a lot of people will say now that the AI noise removal has gotten so good, like there's a Lightroom AI noise removal tool that's really good. I think you could try a lot of those. I shot a fairly long exposure shot at 4,000 ISO and it was a little bit muddy. So I would say the highest I would push it is like 2,500 max, unless you're okay with it being grainy. But again, if you shoot in black and white stuff is already kind of grainy. So if you
also 2,500 is really good.
2,500 is pretty good, but so
we also just talked about Sony cameras recently.
Well,
yeah. One thing, Fuji is releasing they're going to be releasing a like red competitor, I think later this year or early next year, called the Fujifilm Eterna, that is a box camera.
I'll be the judge of that.
Well, it is
Eterna's a sweet name already.
Yeah.
Props for the name.
Eterna is their old film stock, by the way.
Okay.
Yeah, actual film stock. It has dual native ISO. And I think it would have been awesome if they put dual native ISO in this camera because it's using the exact same sensor. So it would have been really cool if they had put dual native ISO in this camera because it would have helped with those kind of things. But yeah, people on the internet got very angry at each other about this stuff because the Q3 has optical image stabilization and a f1.7 lens. Damn. This lens is quite a bit slower and no OIS, but it has a lot of other features. So they're very different cameras. It's just that because they're the only two fixed lens digital cameras that are full frame or bigger, people lump them into the same
They
category.
get compared with each other. Yeah.
Yeah.
Also, the Q3 is more expensive.
Yeah, the Q3 is $1,400 more.
I have a banger follow-up video for you.
Okay.
Ready? GFX 100 RF versus iPhone 16 Pro Max.
Ooh.
If you want to get people on the internet riled up, that's one way to do it for sure.
Yeah.
No.
Anyway.
You got to do a drop test.
Gosh.
So that's on my YouTube channel. I had many existential crises about whether or not to put it on my channel or just start a camera channel.
I think you made the right
I think I
choice.
made the wrong choice.
Really? We can get into that another day.
Yeah, we can. We can.
Well, speaking of products designed for particularly niche demographics, Huawei,
You call
thank
me
you.
niche?
Well,
Yes.
I think a 100 megapixel, $5,000 medium format camera is,
Oh, I mean this phone.
yeah. Oh, you're in the niche for sure, but it is a niche.
Yeah.
Huawei Pura X gets unveiled / shown off. It's okay. So you know how we have like hamburger phones and hot dog phones, right?
Yeah.
So we have like folds that go out like that,
Yeah.
and then flips like that. What if you take a phone that's shaped on the outside like a flip, but folds out like a fold?
This
like
is really
a
hard
hot
to
burger?
describe, right?
Yeah,
A hot burger or a ham dog kind of thing.
exactly.
This is like cat dog, right?
Yes.
Yeah.
This is the cat dog phone. This phone is so simple and so hard to explain for audio listeners at the same
Yeah.
time, because what it is essentially is a Samsung Flip or a Moto Razr. But when you're looking at it closed, rotate it 90 degrees so the hinge is now on your left like a book.
Yeah.
But then when you open it, you have to then rotate it another 90 degrees to kind of use it as a standard portrait version.
If you want to
Yeah.
use it as a portrait tablet, yeah.
Yeah, it felt like Huawei was at their meeting and said, you know, we've seen all these foldables, flips fold, like hot dog versus hamburger. How do we innovate? And they just did the like Porque no los dos meme and like
Yeah.
cheering at everyone. And they're like, we did it. Here's both in one.
This feels like something LG would do. Like they're picking up where LG left off of like, hey, no one's done that swivelly thing yet, have they? Okay, yeah, now we are.
Yeah.
So here's the Huawei flip fold.
Well, the interesting thing about Huawei is that they have never really made a fold that looks like other folds, because they were the ones that put the screen on the outside first when the
Right.
Galaxy Fold was doing it, folding internally.
And then everybody else started doing that.
And then they made the nobody did the outside screen, like the
Talking about, oh, sorry.
No,
I
they
mean,
did the
yeah, you're
full
right.
outside.
Yeah.
I'm thinking of their flipping phone. They had a flip phone that looks exactly like Samsung's flip phone.
yeah, they had that.
And they
Yeah.
do have a regular folding phone, but the first
but that folding phone has the screen on the outside.
no, but then they also have this one.
Oh yeah,
the
you're
Mate
right.
X2.
You're right,
It's
you're
just
right,
a
right.
regular folding
But
phone.
then so they made the weird one, and then they made the trifold.
Mm-hmm. That's
Which-
also Huawei.
Nobody has yet copied, but Samsung inferred at Galaxy
Oh,
Unpacked
yeah.
that they were working on one.
Big LG vibes.
And now they're making, it's like,
Yeah.
wow.
Just trying stuff.
I wonder if Huawei and LG are anagrams.
LG.
I don't think so.
But yeah, no, they're definitely picking up where they left off. I think it's an interesting idea.
I
It's
do
still
too.
a small-ish phone. It's a 6.3 inch phone when you open it. So you know how some of them are like kind of gigantic, 6.7, 6.8, 6.3 open. So it's not as gigantic. So I feel like there could be a smaller crowd that's into this idea.
And the weird thing about the size is that 6.3, but with a different aspect ratio because
Right.
it's wider than most phones.
It's 16 by 10 on the
Yeah.
interior screen.
right.
And I think it's interesting because it's smaller opened, but then it's really compact when it's closed. And it's
Mhm.
almost asking you to like
Use it closed.
use it a lot closed if you're okay with a really small screen. Or
Right.
I shouldn't even say really small screen. It's bigger screen than like I think it's a bigger screen than a flip when it's closed. But because where it's rotated, it feels more portrait style.
Totally.
Yeah.
And I think that's kind of cool. I think this wants you to kind of use it half and half of closed. This wants you to use it closed more than like
Really?
a flip or a razor.
I think
is
so.
my guess.
Yeah, because it
Because
turns
of
into
how
like
it's-
the iPad mini.
I think it's too small to use it closed very much. I think it's similar to the Samsung situation and the Razr, where you have a big screen on the outside, but you're not really meant to use it on the outside that much. It's more just like, I want to read an entire notification without it being cropped. I want to see, like, I might play a game on the outside once in a while, but that's really kind of a niche thing.
Okay, so counterpoint.
Yeah.
Clicks, Michael Fisher's
Mhm.
brand,
Mhm.
disclosure, our friend.
Yeah.
/ my ex-roommate. Not my ex's roommate, but my ex-roommate.
Mm-hmm.
They just released clicks for Razer.
Right.
And it uses the Razer closed, and then you use the keyboard and you use the whole phone closed.
Yeah.
So it's like this.
That's even more niche.
Yes.
Oh yeah.
Because you attach a keyboard
Yeah.
to it. But I mean, you can do everything that you can do when the phone's open. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Except watch a widescreen video.
But that's why you open it.
Exactly.
Turn it sideways.
Yeah, I'd say that. Like, I feel like that's enough to answer a text message. It's enough to, like, if you're doing walking directions in Google Maps, I'd probably just want the small one that I can throw in my pocket super easily.
Totally.
I don't know.
The other thing is
I
when
kinda
you
dig this.
open it, it's already in landscape orientation. So if you start a video while it's closed, you just open it. You don't even have to turn it.
That is probably the best part. Book style.
Hell yeah.
I like that.
I think the best part of this is Huawei's getting a bunch of news coverage because they were just like, let's take a flip and rotate it 90 degrees. And now they've got an entire
Hey,
news cycle.
someone had to do it first. Someone had to think of it. Nobody else did it.
Brilliant.
Also, the
honestly.
main cameras are facing you. So it's like built for selfies.
Mhm. It's fire.
Triple camera up top.
So it's going to start off as China only. It's going to be the equivalent of about $1,000, similar to like Razer and Z Flip. And it's probably not going to show up in the US anytime soon, but we get to read articles about it and admire it from here.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It also seems like if you want to take pictures of things that are not your face, you have to open it.
Yes.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Interesting.
I mean, similar
Minor
to like,
downside. Minor
At
downside.
least you
to
get
the
a
form
giant
factor.
viewfinder.
It also will be the first phone to ship with Harmony Intelligence, which is Huawei's AI assistant.
powered by DeepSeek.
Or they're calling it their own in-house AI model powered by DeepSeek or something like that.
That is an oxymoron.
I forget the exact. I'm sure the exact phrasing is in here.
Do you guys
Let
think
me
that
get
in
it?
China, DeepSeek is like a hyped brand? Because
That
it has
is
so much global
so hard
appeal.
for us to know.
Enhanced by DeepSeek. In-house
I
model
see.
enhanced. In-house Pangu model.
Yeah, it's DeepSeek.
It's like if you are going to say in-house model enhanced by DeepSeek, you are by nature of emphasizing one of those, basically discarding the other. If you're going to
Hey,
tell
listen.
us it's our in-house model, oh, I'm supposed to be very impressed by that. Enhanced by DeepSeek. Oh, okay. So it's not.
That's kind of like how Siri is
Siri
enhanced
with
by
ChatGPT.
It's like, okay, I'm either impressed by one or the other, not both.
Yeah.
But you can pick your choice.
Siri can do basic stuff, but when you need really hard tasks, we offload that to ChatGPT.
Well, right now Siri can't do those basic things either. Maybe not till next year.
That's true.
I have one other announcement, and I want to preface this. Not announcement. Yeah.
What are you about to say?
I'm prefacing this by saying I'm 99% sure this is real, but I'm not completely sure this is real. And I'll explain why, and you guys can help me figure this out. All right. So there's a bunch of posts and very few news articles about something called Vivo Vision, which is the company Vivo. We all know they're a phone manufacturing company. They have done a lot of crazy things in the past. Were they not the first people to do like the under fingerprint?
Vivo,
The
yeah.
under-
Yeah, they were.
Years ago used to be the ones like innovating a lot of stuff that we tested before we saw them in like every other phone. But Vivo Vision is their mixed reality headset that was showcased at a conference in China last week.
Allegedly.
I'm okay. So the first time I saw this was on a post on Threads, and the video, which I thought I linked in here. Let me find the video so you can see it. Has this like very wonky, sketchy effect on it that looks like it's AI enhanced, really bad.
Look at the bottom
What
of
would
the
you
screen.
The whole bottom is just glitching out, and the Vivo Vision text is like freaking out and looks super AI. But everything else looks totally fine, right?
Yeah. Why? Okay. It looks like someone shot the video in like 16:8, and someone said at the last second, you need this video to be 16:10. And so they had to AI extend the bottom 500 pixels of the video to be taller. So the bottom of the entire video looks like it's glitching out and AI enhanced, which includes a lot of the text. But that's kind of weird.
So when I saw this, there are not very many news articles. The only website that I frequently visit that posted about this was GSM Arena, which I generally trust.
Forbes has an article about it.
Forbes has one? Okay.
Forbes has one. They all show the same 2 images.
Yeah. But so I reached out to a different Android reporter that I know, and I was like, have you heard about this? He said no, and I showed him the video, and he's like, I think there was a watermark on this, and that's an AI watermark removal.
Also
probably
possible.
from some Chinese publication.
Definitely.
Yeah.
And whatever this video from is just the only one we can see, not on one of those websites trying to remove
It's
that.
so sad that someone was like, I want to not attribute this publication so badly that I'm
That'll-
going to mess up the video
And
and
make
make
people
people think
not-
it's fake.
Wow.
Yeah.
But I think it's real ultimately, and we need to talk about how it looks because there's not a lot of information on it. But this is like if a mullet is party in the front, business in the back. This is Apple Vision Pro in the front, Project Muhan in the back, Vision Pro in the back, Muhan in the front. It is the exact same knit band and battery connector and battery of a Vision Pro.
Yeah.
And then the front,
Glass.
it looks like a higher quality material version of Muhan, where it has like a much bigger face shield, like face padding,
Yeah.
and kind of thinned down actual like screen and sensors and stuff. But yeah,
This image has been saved so many times. It's just so compressed.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, it's like this one image, 1 or 2 images on every single website, and then this AI video floating around, 25-second orbit of this thing. It looks kind of like Vivo saw the Vision Pro and went, all right, we're doing our own headset, heavily inspired by the Vision Pro.
yeah.
Not shocking. I definitely... So this is probably going to run Android XR is my guess. Or they're going to do
That's
their
a
own
very fair
software. But
point.
when I did that Android XR video, it was kind of along the lines of, what do all the non-Vision Pro headsets run? And if you're a Meta and you have your own Horizon OS, that's cool. If you're not, maybe you just use Google's new OS because it's going to work with everything. And so this is probably going to run that. And we'll see when it eventually comes out, maybe.
I
But
find it very funny that Meta was getting so hyped about making Horizon OS like the OS for headsets,
yeah.
and just nobody cared.
Did anyone else use it?
I think
guess not.
there may have been a Lenovo, or there were companies that announced they were going to use it. I don't know if any actually came out,
Yeah.
but they wanted to make the OS for, the metaverse,
metaverse.
or like,
Yes.
yeah, or these VR headsets. And I don't know if anyone actually took them up on that.
So we'll see what this ends up
I'm
doing.
gonna guess it's the Google one. Yeah,
I think so.
Android
I would probably
XR.
guess it's Android XR. So all we really know outside of this is that it was at this conference.
The Bow Forum.
Is that how you pronounce that?
I don't know how
I'm
to
very
pronounce it.
BOAO
Yeah.
forum. And
It looks like a business conference. So like my guess is like Vivo wanted to show off like, look what we can make.
it looks
type
like they
of
have
thing.
like
Oh,
the video
yeah.
of it is in this little Vivo booth, which they apparently also showed off 6G advancements and that X200
no.
Ultra smartphone.
Oh god,
So
here
do
we go. again.
know whether or not this is like real or just them saying, "Look, we can make something just like the Vision
That would be
Pro."
my guess.
This
No,
might not be
Because it's
functional.
also called Vivo Vision, which is sort of an immediate like, "Hey, we can do manufacturing exactly the same as Apple."
concept.
Yeah.
This is everything short of concept without having
Yeah,
the word
I mean,
concept in
Pump
it.
our stock.
The closest information I found on this is that there's a prototype anticipated mid to 2025.
A prototype.
Okay,
So-
can we break down that sentence?
Yes.
What is a prototype? A prototype is a pre-release, not ready for the public yet version of something that's like
Yep.
to show it. What was the sentence? A prototype.
Okay. A unit was present at the Vivo booth to showcase the design, while the prototype is anticipated to launch in mid
The
2025.
prototype is anticipated mid 2025.
Maybe allegedly.
So by
At
mid
this conference
2025,
that nobody knows if it really took place.
we will have maybe a prototype.
Announcement.
Prototypes don't always come out either. Like
No,
sometimes
right.
it's just
no.
like
They
we're messing
usually
around.
don't end up looking like the prototype.
That said,
I-
this doesn't seem too far fetched though, because if,
Vivo loves to do stuff
yeah,
like this.
and if
I mean,
Google's really going to be pushing Android XR and like Muhan and everything, like you would want to have something ready to go for when they announce
Yeah,
that. So
that's
it
for
makes
sure.
sense.
It does
Yeah.
make sense.
I blame all this prototype stuff on the video game industry because they just started pushing alpha releases of games, realized they could make money and never have to update them. And now everyone else is like, why don't we just release stuff that's broken and blame it on the people paying for it?
That's true.
I found the press release, so it is definitely real. It's definitely from Vivo, and it is definitely a prototype.
This is like, there
Also,
are
it
more
is a
articles up right now than when I wrote this morning.
Mhm.
So it seems like it's more
crazy.
people are-
That's wild.
Dang. Yeah, it looks nice.
It does look cool.
Does
I
look
do-
cool.
I mean, I'm not excited that it has the same band that the Vision Pro didn't work very
Fair.
well.
Yeah.
That was a really grammatically correct sentence.
But
We'll
maybe,
see.
but maybe this one's a lot lighter. You know.
Yeah,
So
we'll
that-
see if they're able to innovate and do something Apple wasn't with this headset, with this band.
Yeah.
TBD.
TBD.
I don't think the hardware was the problem.
Yeah.
I don't know. I think it was kind of the problem.
With the Apple Vision Pro?
It
Dude,
was
it's
a
so heavy.
combination. The head.
Well,
the-
yeah, but if there was an amazing
Dude,
experience,
F1
people would
drivers would
just use
get-
it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
The weight was huge. But also there was no content,
The price tag was also.
and it was expensive.
Yeah.
That's it.
Yeah. All right. Well, we got to talk about some more Apple stuff after the break. But before we take a break, we should take a trivia break.
Did you guys do trivia? You did trivia last week, huh?
Yeah, and neither of them got it right. So.
Oh, good. You could have called.
So
me.
you didn't miss anything. We were debating it, but I was going
Wow.
to if they had gotten it.
I was
but
only
then I was like,
I was only
eh,
5 hours ahead.
I don't even
That's too
remember what
much.
it was.
honest.
was a
It
question about
the-
David.
It was really hard.
What
what
was
does
David's-
LEAF stand for?
Yeah, the Nissan Leaf. What does Leaf stand for?
It was a backronym,
Mm-hmm.
Oh no.
which I argue makes it more embarrassing because it's so stupid. Why would you make it only make a backronym if it's super creative and good? Don't just
Love,
do it.
Electric and vision.
So yeah, 0 points
No.
for David.
0 points for David.
We all thought E was electric. It wasn't.
Mm.
It was
Which is-
environmentally friendly. Yes,
What's
that's
the-
one
what,
word.
What about the A?
the
Oh.
A is affordable.
What is the L?
The L is leading. Why are you asking this all out of order?
Leading environmentally
Leading,
friendly.
environmentally
This-
friendly, affordable family car.
This is like, do you know when they make like memes of acronyms where like one of the letters is like I need CPR,
Yeah,
crab
yeah.
rangoons right in my mouth or whatever, and like
Yeah.
this is what that is. Environmentally friendly.
You
as
guys
one
could have
word.
gotten a point if you had gotten any of those correct.
Really?
though. It wasn't
Yeah.
like you had to get the whole thing. You just needed one of the words.
Wait, so
got
L
none.
is leading?
Leading.
Didn't I say that?
No.
No.
I said love.
Either way, that was last week's. You said
It's kind of like how the RF and GFX 100 RF, like, it stands for rangefinder style fixed lens, which also almost sounds like a backronym. In my video, I literally said it is a rangefinder style fixed lens, and everyone was like, "It's not a rangefinder," and I was like,
rangefinder
yes,
style.
I know.
We need to get rid of
But
hyphens.
that is literally what it stands for.
Damn.
So,
All right. First question.
Yeah.
We spoke about the PS1 earlier. Oh boy.
I don't know.
Fun fact, it was released in the United States, September of 1995. So
Oh.
question for you, which of these games was not available on the PS1?
Can I just
Breath of the Wild.
before we get to there? GTA 6.
Dota 2.
Wait, are you saying PS1 like he's talking about in there, which is the modified version after the original PlayStation?
No, the original PlayStation, the PS1. Yeah. Okay. A, Gran Turismo.
Mm,
B, Crash Bandicoot.
mm,
C, Final Fantasy.
mm.
D, Call of Duty World at War. Or E, all of these were available on the PS1.
No way.
Ooh.
Hmm.
You said
Mm.
D.
This is before my time, so I'm full stab in the dark for me. I'm not going to know the answer, but
It
we'll
was
see.
not
It was not before your time. You were
Didn't you just
alive.
say it was? When did you say?
95.
95. So I was 2 years old.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You were
I
95.
I thought you were a real gamer.
I wasn't sentient yet.
I was 5 months old and I knew about these games.
Okay. All right. I take it back. Well, I'm going to be guessing, but answers will be at the end, like usual.
Crash Bandicoot.
We'll be right back. Support for Waveform comes from SelectQuote. There are so many things in life that we just never get around to, taking up that hobby, cleaning out the garage, these little things that don't really make a huge difference in our lives, but that we should do. But there's one thing that most of us have probably been neglecting that can have a huge impact on our family's future. It's life insurance. And with SelectQuote, getting covered with the right policy for you is easier and more affordable than you think. SelectQuote is one of America's leading insurance brokers with nearly 40 years of experience, helping over 2 million customers find over $700 billion in coverage since 1985. SelectQuote says they partner with carriers that provide policies for a variety of health conditions. So even if you have preconditions like high blood pressure, diabetes, or even heart disease, SelectQuote partners with carriers that can cover those conditions and others. Get the right life insurance for you for less at selectquote.com/waveform. So go to selectquote.com/waveform today to get started. That's selectquote.com/waveform. I have a hot take that's going to burn this whole podcast. It's going to be great.
That's coming up?
Yep, it's coming up.
Should we start this with that hot take?
Sure.
It's not even a track car,
All
man.
right, we're already back.
Yeah, okay.
All right, get ready to format this card.
We're back. And I just said I have a hot take that's going to burn this whole podcast down. And you know where this comes from? So here's the announcement that this
Every
is
hot
around.
take with a backstory is crazy.
No, I believe this though. I fully
Just getting
believe this.
worse.
I fully stand by this with all of my
There's a
heart.
lot of build-up.
The announcement is AirPods Max get lossless audio. And the subtext of the announcement is only the USB Type-C AirPods Max get it while the cable is attached.
Yeah.
And so obviously, okay, so the Lightning one doesn't support it. Most of the AirPods Max out there are the Lightning one, but okay, these $550 headphones finally got lossless audio.
Oh boy.
Updating my LinkedIn profile.
My hot take
Currently looking
is
for a job.
none of you people
Uh-oh.
can tell the difference between lossless audio and regular
That's
compressed
not a hot
audio.
take.
Yeah, that's-
Zero of you. And I know you think you can, but you can't. You can only tell it because of confirmation bias, but if you listen back to back, you might maybe get it right, but if you don't label them and you do a blind test, you'll get it wrong every single time. There is no... I'll stop there.
We physically tested this with the
Preemptively.
Walkman video on the
LSS
studio.
take.
Ellis did like a test and brought all of us in to see if we could tell the difference between
yeah.
and like
Alright.
almost
I think
all
I
of us.
got 7 out of 8 right. Just saying.
7 out of
Well, there
8.
are more differences than just the amount of information. There were other, dynamic range differences, etc. But if you just take lossless versus compressed, no difference to people.
So you're saying that they are trying to take the people who believe that there's a difference and sell them the new headphone.
Yeah.
I think that's great marketing strategy.
And it's great. Look, lots of expensive headphones support lossless audio, and AirPods Max are fairly late to this. And it's like, okay, great, you can do it now. You require the cable. That's not a surprise. Okay, now you have lossless audio. You've caught up to the other $500 headphones out there. But I don't care.
If somehow audio listeners haven't figured out Ellis isn't in the studio
Yeah.
from
Yeah, we would be
jumping
getting
in
a
on that
rant.
one, it
I
should
kind
be
of,
there.
yeah, Ellis would probably have thoughts.
We
But
can probably play back the clip of the episode where they announced the AirPods Max with USB-C, and we thought it was going to be AirPods Max 2, and we were like, that's
did
it?
nothing.
They
Yeah.
just put a USB-C cable and
slightly
gave it
new
some
colors.
new colors?
Slightly
That's
new
it?
colors.
There are a couple other small features
Go for
that
it.
is coming with this. Personalized spatial audio
Mm.
and they're in ultra low latency
Right.
with the cable attached. So
With the
gaming
cable
now,
attached.
they say
Wait, shouldn't-
gamers and live streamers can benefit from ultra low latency audio, which lowers lag time and is on par with native built-in speakers on Mac, iPad, and iPhone.
That
First
one's
of all,
nice. I do notice the ultra low latency stuff because I've noticed differences in latency between different types of headphones.
Mhm.
And I think Razer did this thing with their gaming headphones not that long ago, this ultra low latency mode. And it was like, okay, this, you know how you watch a YouTube video with Bluetooth headphones on and the person's mouth is moving slightly different from the audio in your headphones?
Yeah.
That's
Like
actually noticeable and annoying. So you can imagine while gaming, you want that audio to line up exactly with what you're doing. Yes, this is very useful. I support ultra low latency.
I agree with everything you said.
Yeah.
Except
I'm pretty sure this article means it only works when it's plugged in.
Yes,
With the
correct.
wire.
Only the cable.
Well, yeah.
So I'm not impressed.
All
Oh, I'm not
headphones-
impressed. I'm just saying it's a useful feature.
All headphones are ultra low latency in when plugged in.
I'm not crazy.
Bluetooth is the only thing that causes drag.
That's true. Yes, that's true.
I'm
so they're just spinning the fact that it's plugged in.
I feel like
Yeah.
I have to be missing something here.
I guess my only take is that there is a noticeable difference between ultra low latency and wireless. So I'm like, okay,
Yeah.
it supports it. Great. I'm my take that I can see the comments already are that the difference between 24-bit 48 kilohertz lossless audio and whatever codec, whatever bitrate it was doing over Bluetooth before will be
1644.1.
imperceptible to 99.9% of people. And that last 0.1% is kind of guessing.
Damn.
Wow. Mic drop.
Well, don't you worry. There's another big announcement.
Okay.
God.
Can't afford this. If you're a gamer, you cannot afford this. I'm sorry.
You also now can buy a USB-C to 3.5 millimeter audio cable for the low price of my ring makes that really bad drum solo $39.
Jeez.
Yep. That gets you the DAC is in the cable, I believe. You can
What?
and you can plug it straight into because what are you plugging into?
Additional DAC?
I think you might need it because if you're plugging into something with a headphone jack, this isn't a modern smartphone anymore. This is like some MP3 player or some other thing. And you're going to plug it straight into the AirPods Max. So you're going to probably need some support from the cable.
To drive
Well,
them?
I do also want
I
to
don't know.
make the difference here is there already is a USB-C to 3.5 millimeter adapter. This is the cable to plug directly into your
The
headphones.
adapter is
Right.
probably
USB-C.
totally passive. Yeah.
Was there already a male lightning to male 3.5?
I bought one on Amazon
I
a
think
while
so,
ago
yeah,
for
right?
cheap, and it was not very good. I don't think Apple sold one. If they did, it probably cost a lot more. Yeah, I have not used it.
I know they had a lightning to female 3.5 because they originally sold that with the iPhone 10.
Immediately get lost in Apple dongles. It's so hard to keep track of all the different ones.
Yeah. Okay, well, big news for those people.
USB-C AirPods Max
To
people.
the people that care, congratulations. Moving on. There is also a rumor going around that the iPhone 17 Pro is going to have 8K video recording.
Yeah.
Yay.
That's a lot of smarts. but
I have
also
a hot
really
take.
data.
Lots of-
Most of you who think you can see 8K video footage can't actually tell the difference.
I would take you up on that. I definitely can watch a 4K video and then switch to 8K and be like, wow, this looks way better.
What are you watching it on?
I was joking. by the
6K
time
Pro
we-
Display XDR, 6K display.
Okay.
If I watch a 4K video and then an 8K video, even though it's not an 8K display, I can see a difference.
What about
also
1080p
the thing about
enhanced
Sure.
bitrate?
that
I can't. I wish I
Actually,
could.
I've
I wish I could.
it depends on the video.
Yeah.
Depends on the video. Because the thing is, YouTube had this bug recently where, and I don't know if you saw this, if you started watching a video and you had a great Wi-Fi connection, it would still play at
Yes.
ultra low quality.
Right.
And this went on for a couple of days, and I was very annoyed by this because every video I watch on my iPad, I immediately select the highest possible like bit rate and resolution.
Yeah.
So it was going to default to these lower resolutions, and every single time I would switch it. And I started noticing more and more videos that have 1080p and 1080p high bit rate.
Yeah.
Some of them, just for and giggles, I would check it out, and I would notice a tiny difference with the high bit rate, but it would depend on the video and how much movement and motion there is and how much is happening in the video. So some of those I would be able to tell, some of those I wouldn't, but I can definitely tell a difference between like 1080 and 1440 and 4K.
Yeah.
And then if there's an 8K video, I'm probably going to need a big display to notice the difference, but
And how close you are to the screen.
yeah. And the thing about 8K videos is they're typically shot on sensors and cameras that look better than 4K cameras. So it's not just pure resolution difference. Like if I were to take a 8K video from the Red and downsize it to 4K, it's still going to look really, really good. And that's going to be hard to tell the difference. But a 4K video from my RX 100 versus an 8K video from my Red, it's like, okay, I can tell which one the 8K one is because it looks better in so many other ways.
What about an 8K from a Galaxy S24
That's what I was going
Ultra?
to say.
That's what I'm curious. So right now, 8K videos from smartphones, the couple that support it, the way it kind of ends up going is it's only from the main sensor because that's the only one with the high enough resolution and fast enough processing and fast enough scanning of this sensor.
Yeah.
And then it ends up looking like this super, super crisp, over-sharpened video from
Yeah.
top to bottom.
Yeah.
And so it kind of fools you into thinking, wow, this is much better because I have all this detail and like someone's hair will like wisp off in the sun and you can see like every little thing and it looks
Plastic.
sharper and better, but it's not actually more usable
Yeah.
in terms of like resolution or
Yeah.
or just looking like better footage. I would get more from a larger sensor and a shallower depth of field than I would from going to 8K.
Yeah.
That being said, I've wanted 8K from lots of smartphone cameras. I think the iPhone is a prime camera to support 8K. I've shot lots of video on iPhones. You watch the autofocus channel, you've seen a lot of it. I would love to see what 8K from those sensors would look like. but we haven't seen it yet. So maybe this next generation we will.
Would you use it?
I think so. So the thing about 8K also is it's 4 times 4K resolution. So it's going to be a ton of storage. And you already know what it looks like to shoot 4K HDR ProRes. Log. Those are big files.
They're so big.
You need an external hard drive.
So big.
I'm thinking 8K is going to require at least a terabyte iPhone or something crazy because they're not going to unlock that for 256 gig iPhones. And it's going to probably, I don't know if it'll require external storage, but it'll be strongly suggested.
My guess is they're not even going to allow you to shoot 8K ProRes. Like 8K will be an option, but ProRes is going to be limited to 4K.
Yeah, it's H.265 because H.264 is limited to 4K, right? So H.265 is 8K.
Yeah,
and that's the only way to support.
But I just don't think that Apple will even let you because they're just going to be like, this eats up way too much storage.
So they're going to compress 8K. So is the compressed 8K going to look better than the ProRes 4K?
It's the same thing. It's like the 8K on the smartphone looks kind of worse than just the regular 4K because it's so much sharpening, so much what was that? So much sharpening, so much noise reduction that it just ends up looking like over sharpened and plasticky.
Yeah.
But it would just be better to shoot 4K.
What if they want it taking up more storage so you can buy more iCloud?
Conspiracy. Yeah,
Smart
I mean,
move.
they didn't allow ProRes log unless you had the 256 gig model.
I think you needed more. I think
The
you might
base
have
model.
needed the terabyte.
No, I think it was.
Just there wasn't.
I
think the base
available.
model. Didn't allow it.
right.
I
That's
think
what
it was just the base model didn't allow it. So I could see if they did that. I don't think they're going to allow 8K in ProRes log at all.
Yeah, those would be crazy big files.
Yeah,
I bet if this does come out on 17 Pro, they announce it at the event and it comes out 3 months later.
Yeah, I could see that.
I could definitely. That's actually a really good prediction. I think that's exactly what they would do.
Pretty solid.
Wow.
Yeah.
Especially because the day one videos of people being like, I shot 10 minutes of 8K video and now my phone is full. They were just delay those headlines by a couple weeks while people buy the phones and then turn it on.
Yeah.
Damn, that's a good one, Andrew.
I like how the smallest note in this outline turned into one joke and possibly the longest conversation that I think we've had so far.
I can see the comment section burning up already from my last 2 takes from AirPods Max and now 8K video on phones, but I stand by them.
Other small rumor is that Mark Gurman is saying that they possibly may be producing the foldable iPhone as early as 2026, selling it as early as 2026.
Next year.
We also had an analyst saying that the device has entered a new production phase and mass production could be slated for the second half of next year. So
it's going to beat the Robotaxi.
Everything will beat the Robotaxi.
Interesting. Okay.
I've been burned before. So, but Mark Gurman does think that it's a foldable style flip phone and not a flip style folding phone. There's too many names for this folding thing.
I think it's confusing because when you fold and flip are next to each other, it makes perfect sense. But when you only say folds, then it's like pants and shorts. Shorts are always shorts, but I think right. But that's a hotter take than go on.
Exactly.
Go on. I'm not getting into that argument.
He also says there will be less of a crease, which matches with an earlier report from ET News.
Less of a crease than existing
folds and flips. Okay. And Apple has decided to eliminate crease at all costs.
Yeah, so that's something ET News reported like a month ago, saying that like Apple is willing to like not have a crease on this. Like that's a main factor.
An interesting tidbit. I mean, I recently did the video on the Oppo Find N5 talking about this peak foldable where they've done so much. It's super thin. It has a large battery. The hinge is really nice. And there's almost no crease. And I wonder, like, as Apple watches all of these foldables coming out, what they're thinking is like, all right, what we've got to do to make it like okay for us to ship a foldable. And to land on the crease being the tough thing and not the aspect ratio or the bezels or the under display selfie camera or anything else. The crease, gotta have no crease. That's an interesting take.
I guess that's Apple kind of admitting or at least saying that the industry has figured out the form factors by now, because that's usually what they do. They let the experimental stuff cook for like a few years and then they take, okay, what are the key problems with these things that people are testing out? Let's iron that out and then release something.
Yeah. Iron it out, get the crease out.
That's right.
Iron the crease out,
baby. And they're basically saying, nice. They're basically saying that a foldable hot dog style foldable is the style that is correct. I don't know if I agree with that. I think that, The new Huawei one is kind of hot. But
I always pictured Apple doing flip style. I just thought it
Yeah,
made more
me
sense.
too.
That's a literal iPhone that
folds in
flips.
half.
Mhm.
And that's the one that I
yeah.
see all over the place. And iPhone people are like,
Yeah, my question becomes though, do we see them all over the place because they're still half the price of
Yes.
folds?
100%.
I think so.
Yeah. But
So-
that's also like there are also folds out there, but none of my iPhone people in my life care about them. It's like a joke. Like, why would you want that?
Yeah.
But they see the flips and they're like, huh, that is cool.
And is that independent of price, you think? Because I
Well,
think
they don't know the pricing when they're just looking at it.
right,
You know?
yeah. Because I think when I imagine which one to tackle first is the best idea, I think there are more flips in the world, but I think that's also because of the price.
Yeah.
So I don't know if that's a good indicator for which one's a better idea. But also for Apple positioning, you know, they want to go premium, and I think with the flips, it's just the iPhone, but it folds in half. Well, what does that offer me? I guess it's cool that it folds in half and it's smaller, but they can tell a way more dramatic premium story with this tablet in your pocket thing.
Yeah.
And I think if this is going to be a $2,000+ phone, like they would like to have some big, heavy hitting thing to start the category.
The other interesting thing becomes iOS and iPadOS are different and work differently.
Mhm.
And so does Apple merge them and just make them, because like Android basically took Android and then they had a foldable version of Android and they eventually just merged them into one version where all Android phones can now just dynamically expand and do the like plug into a computer and all these things.
Yeah.
Apple is going to have to go through that process, and it took Google like 3 years to figure that out.
Yeah.
So are they just going to like knock it out of the park day one, or are they going to have some flubs?
I think
that's
they
the question.
kill the iPad mini.
No.
Unfortunately.
Please no.
And this
I
is
know.
the new iPad mini?
And then this is the new iPad.
And then they make a commercial where they're like, "Hey, what's that iPad?" And the person's like, "What's an
What's
iPad?"
an iPad? That'd be awesome.
deep cut.
It should be around $2,000 or $2,000 to $2,500. So that is a fairly
Expensive.
yes, it is. But it's also the same price that the folds have been for like a very long time.
Yeah.
Or at least were when they launched.
I'm not sure if that would like
a little cheaper now.
get a new round of people buying iPhones. I think a flip would be way more compelling to people. Because you also don't have to tell developers, okay, now there's a new screen size you have to figure out.
Well, there is the front facing screen if they had a screen on the front.
yeah.
Oh, that's true.
It's that
Yeah.
or the big landscape thing.
Yeah.
Maybe
Square.
it's iOS when it's closed. When you open it, it's iPad OS.
And it's got an M chip,
and it
and it's
Wait,
mean,
now
I
I
mean,
want
that'd be
it.
sick.
it's
Yeah.
interesting.
Yeah. So, more rumor mill stuff. I think we've been reporting on this for
Oh yeah.
Yeah, we'll
a
see.
year.
We just need to
But-
talk about it enough to maybe put it in the thumbnail.
This is a long way away, but it is interesting to imagine.
We have some facts to throw at you that are different from rumors. WWDC, also called Dub, someone in the comment section said, stop calling it that. And to you, I say, no.
That's what it's called, though.
It's an acronym.
I've listened to your concerns and I've chosen to ignore them.
All
You
questions
sound a
asked
lot
and
like
then-
Tim Cook right now.
Also, WWDC. Oh my goodness. That takes forever to say.
I'm just going to say Worldwide Developer Conference
That's-
every single time.
It hurts me.
So when is the Worldwide Developer Conference this year?
June 9th.
Oh, Worldwide Developer Conference 2025.
Yeah, the
June
Worldwide
9th?
Developer Conference 2025 is taking place at Apple headquarters in Cupertino, California at One Infinite Loop.
It's typically in June, the Worldwide Developer Conference.
Yeah, the Worldwide Developer Conference starts on June 9th, but the Worldwide Developer Conference is actually going to be accessible to every developer online, fully available online between June 9th and June 12th.
What are we expecting to see at this Worldwide Developer Conference?
Well, glad you asked, Adam. At the Worldwide Developer Conference, I'm sorry, we're done.
Dub. That person regrets that comment.
I wasn't done.
I'm honestly surprised none of us tripped.
I'm very surprised. That's why I didn't participate, because I knew I would have.
Yeah, so it's taking place June 9th. It is going to be available to developers entirely online, which is exciting. It is a Monday this year, which is a little bit different. Usually they do it on Tuesdays. So,
Yeah, the like initial day, first keynote and stuff.
yeah.
Yeah.
So for us, I mean, unless we're like doing a podcast there, then we can just do our normal podcast, I guess,
Amazing.
which is cool.
If that's even happening
Although,
anymore.
yeah, who knows? We will have to wait like 4 days for people to hear our thoughts on on the thing that's happening on Monday. But in other news, the European Union has officially put into effect the consequences of its Digital Markets Act. and it's going to force Apple, allegedly, to change iOS in 7 key ways. 9 key ways. 9 key ways. I wrote this morning. 9 key ways. Now, obviously, Apple can still appeal this, and they almost definitely will, because the ways that the European Union has told Apple to change iOS are all ways in which they keep people in their ecosystem. So surprisingly, all of these changes are things that you have to be like very, tech savvy and understand why these features kind of keep people in the ecosystem to do. Mm-hmm. So I'm just going to go down the list here. Number 1 is better access to iOS notifications, which would allow third-party smartwatches to show notifications and allow people to interact with them similar to how the Apple Watch can. You also must allow custom actions. From third-party developers and ensure that the actions are triggered on the iOS device.
So like quick replies.
Yeah, quick replies or
that.
like opening apps on your phone when you click on the watch, that kind of stuff.
Sure.
This would fix a lot of the Garmin problem that we have.
This is big dub.
Big dub.
I mean, big win.
Big win. Oh, sorry.
Yeah.
Win-win developer conference.
Can we just, when you say these, can we say if this is a
dub?
Yeah.
A W?
Mm-hmm.
A world? Okay, number 2.
World's in the chat.
High bandwidth peer-to-peer Wi-Fi connections. I believe this means that MacBooks are going to be able to see your phone's network and connect to it very easily, regardless of it's an iPhone. Because right now, as long as your phone is around your Mac and is connected to the same Apple ID, you can just click the Wi-Fi button and click connect to your phone.
Super useful.
Yes.
Also, when Chromebooks did that was useful.
They still do it.
Yeah, Chromebooks and Pixels.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So that would be really nice. The question then becomes to me, if there are tons of phones everywhere, is your laptop just going to show a zillion different networks?
Oh.
I feel like that could be frustrating. Because the way that they do it now is they check to see if you're on the same Apple ID, and then it shows it. But part of this European Union thing is like the discovery aspect of that network needs to be opened. So that's pretty interesting. But they specifically say high bandwidth peer-to-peer, and that makes me wonder if there is some underlying protocol where the iPhone giving access to internet to the MacBook is faster with its bandwidth or something than like an Android phone that is casting internet to the MacBook. I'm not totally sure. Number 3, proximity triggered pairing needs to be opened up. So obviously when you have a pair of AirPods or something and you hold it near the iPhone, it'll show that little pop-up window on the iPhone that's like pair. Yeah. Google has fast pair, but only for Android phones. And so basically I think they're just trying to make it so that all earbuds have the same capabilities. So that would be nice.
Yeah.
Is that a dub?
I think that's a dub. I'm also wondering if pairing AirPods to an Android phone would have to do it the other way around.
Yeah, specifically they're going after Apple here. I imagine.
Well, that's still Apple. Is that? Oh, I guess it's who's allowing that connection
device.
on an Android phone.
Yeah, Google would still have to allow, because they're different protocols right now.
Mm-hmm.
Like Google has the official fast pair protocol.
Yeah.
That uses like a Qualcomm thing.
Okay, yeah, and then I wonder,
And a
like,
Google thing.
is the EU going to make Google open it up?
That is
well?
a great question.
Yeah,
that is a great question. Number 4, background execution. Apple needs to provide third parties with the ability to work in the background and fetch data. This is also something that completely nukes third-party smartwatches because a lot of the tasks and stuff cannot run in the background. Eric Mijakovsky, who just relaunched Pebble, specifically said why Apple won't let us make a good Pebble app. He wrote a whole blog post about it. And a lot of that has to do with the ability to fetch information from the phone actively while it's running in the background.
Gotcha.
WW.
Mm-hmm.
Close range wireless file transfer. Other platforms must be able to send and receive data via an equally powerful method as AirDrop when connected to an Apple device and have access to the same protocols AirDrop uses to operate, such as Discovery, Wi-Fi transfer, and more. Enormous dub.
Yeah, love it.
Massive.
Love to see it. It would make working in this office so much easier
Time
if
to
I could
AirDrop everything all the
stuff
time.
from my phone.
Yeah.
And I don't feel bad for them having to open this up because for so long you could have just let me plug my fucking phone into my computer and access the files to it.
Yeah.
But you don't. So here we go. I'm Slack messaging myself photos.
Yeah, I mean, AirDrop is definitely. They basically what they did was they went onto Apple devices and they were like, what are all the things that only work among Apple devices and make it so you have to buy another Apple device for this feature to work well? And they are basically just saying you have to open all this stuff up, which is amazing. I think the AirDrop is kind of the secondary reason that people stay on iPhones when they have a Mac next to iMessage. So that's a very big thing. Automatic Wi-Fi connection on third-party devices. So, for example, if you connect to a Wi-Fi network on your iPhone and then you open your MacBook, it's automatically connected to the same Wi-Fi network. That's very helpful, and that'd be nice. I'm not really sure how they're going to do that. I'm guessing it means with because some smartwatches can connect to Wi-Fi, which allows them to pull notifications and stuff through the internet, so it doesn't have to be connected via Bluetooth to your phone. It might be that. I would love to see that based on other computers as well, but I just don't really see how that would happen. But who knows? Casting solutions equal to AirPlay. So Apple has to give third parties the ability to cast with the same tech AirPlay has access to, and it must be available in the Control Center picker and offer it via the standard media playback APIs without the developer needing to integrate an SDK. So that's cool.
Am I the only one that's not a fan of all of this?
What do you mean not a fan?
Like that they're forcing Apple to do this?
Yeah, it's basically the result is good.
Yeah,
but
it's weird.
The way it's happening is a slippery slope. Like if they can just come in and go, all right, I know you built these technologies, but now here's what you have to do with them.
Where all of these technologies exist? On Android phones. If it's really that serious, you could just leave.
But you can't. Then that's the whole problem. I think that's the whole reason they're doing this is because you can't leave. You have to buy AirPods if you want to have device switching and all that kind of stuff,
Yeah.
You have to leave universally.
You have to leave iPhone.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Which is very hard for people to do. Ironically, in Europe, it's not as hard.
Yeah,
to
that's
do.
what I was going to say. This is in the EU. It's harder here, but
it is harder here.
I think it's that difficult in the EU.
Yeah, so
I don't know.
We got two more. Automatic audio switching. So third-party headphones must have the ability to automatically switch between your phone and your laptop. Right now, there is what is the term for it? Where you can
multi-device,
multi-point, where you can be connected to both at the same time. So I don't see this as that big of a deal because it's from the headphones perspective and not the device's perspective. But apparently they have to open that up to other headphones. And also they must be allowed to use the same high bandwidth connection that AirPods use, I guess for lower latency or something like that. And then number 9, Apple has to open the NFC chip to read write so that you can not only have to use it with Apple Pay.
Oh.
Yeah. Because
I love all these.
Yeah.
I don't know.
This
I'm not
is
a
great.
fan.
I think all of these are things where if you either have if you have an iPhone, you should be able to have other things that aren't Apple products.
Yeah, exactly.
I think that's super reasonable.
Right.
Yes, the results are super reasonable.
Yes.
It's just, is this the way to accomplish those results?
I mean, Apple's not going to do it by themselves.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
Consumers should.
The question always becomes have you created a space where it's hard for consumers to pick other options and therefore they have to buy the Apple option, which further locks them into the Apple ecosystem. They can't get out. So other players can't even compete.
I'm trying to imagine a less competitive version of the same thing where this would never happen. I designed what was that random car that had luggage? The BMW iX. Mm-hmm. BMW made bespoke luggage that fits perfectly in the trunk of the BMW iX. So maximizes the trunk space. So if you want to fill the trunk space with luggage, you have to buy that luggage. Otherwise, you're just going to buy some random cheap other third-party luggage and it might not fit or it might only take up half the space. Now the EU comes in and says, BMW, you are required to allow others to design luggage with your exact specifications.
Yeah, but that's not illegal right now.
What's not illegal?
Well, it's not illegal. You can still design luggage.
Yeah, I feel like the difference would be it's if someone designed the luggage that did fit in there and then BMW had a way of being no, that doesn't.
Right.
Or the trunk won't close if you put different luggage.
Yeah, that's better. Yeah, if you are allowed to design with the exact dimensions, but if they detect it's not BMW's, then it doesn't work or something.
Or
they should. The EU should be
Then
able to say you can't do that.
Yeah, that's fair.
I'm also
Isn't that
going to go out
messed
and say that I am sure the way the EU is doing it isn't perfect because there's a lot of issues in every government everywhere, but like I think for like it seems crazy that I know lots of people with iPhones that would rather have a Garmin watch just because there are a lot of benefits to it, even versus an Apple Watch Ultra, and not being able to do a bunch of the things and just straight up losing features in that
Yeah.
seems like super ticky tacky, and things that like I don't think any of these are super unreasonable asks that would really make people like not want their iPhone anymore. It just lets people with an iPhone have some more opportunities.
Yeah.
Yeah.
There does become a question of like, how do you differentiate? How does Apple differentiate its products to make people want to buy them? Like, do they just have to make the audio quality better? Do they just have to, which to be fair is what every other brand has to do. And there does become a problem when the platform developer becomes the person that is selling accessories for the platform, because they can always prefer their accessories.
Yep.
You know, and so it's hard for competition to compete when there's a platform developer that also creates the
It's like when Amazon Basics like knocks off products and puts their listing above other stuff.
Yeah,
It's like,
right.
well, we're Amazon. We built the search engine, so we put what we want there.
You search fanny pack or like small camera bag, and it comes up with the Peak Design knockoff that Amazon themselves made. Like, that is anti-competitive.
Yeah.
So
Yeah, but the solution is also you just leave the iPhone.
it's really hard to leave the
I
iPhone.
do it like 3 times a year.
Yeah,
It's not
okay.
that hard.
Well, I mean, you're built different.
Yeah.
I think
Built
you're
different.
You're built different.
We have no discipline out here.
I would say like AirDrop is probably the one thing that keeps
That's-
me using the iPhone right now,
Mhm.
because now that RCS exists and I'm getting these RCS chats from people and I'm RCS chatting with people, I'm like, yeah, I really don't have qualms not using iMessage anymore, but I do use AirDrop constantly, and it is really, really hard to move files from an Android phone to a MacBook.
May I interest you in an app called Local Send, which does that?
How fast does it do it?
It's the same as
Can you-
AirDrop.
can
It's just you have to
can you
download the app.
Also send from the MacBook to the phone.
Mhm. Yeah, in any way.
Do you need an app on the MacBook?
Yep.
Yeah.
That's the
That's
thing.
usually
It's
how
like
it
this
goes.
is built into the OS,
Right.
but
Yeah.
there are other options. You just have to
Yeah,
download
there are
the
other
app,
options.
you know?
I would like to end this segment with a tech support question. Because I know that this has worked in the past where somebody has an issue and then they put it out into the world, and then other people with the same issue will find them. I have a tech support issue. It's RCS related.
Okay.
Ooh.
So this phone has RCS on it.
Which phone is this?
This is the Galaxy S25 Ultra, and I have AT&T. And I use Google Messages, so it should work perfectly with RCS. And RCS chats is turned on and connected on this phone.
Okay.
When I send a message to someone with RCS, it starts to try to send for a while, and then it says it's pending. It'll send when the recipient is online, and then a couple minutes later it goes,
Online?
the recipient was never online, so I sent an SMS instead.
Does the recipient have an iPhone or an Android?
Both. This has happened with both.
And what is their carrier?
So, Andrew, what's your carrier?
I'm T-Mobile.
Your T-Mobile. So it says RCS chat with Andrew.
T-Mobile.
Test, send. It says, I'm going to try to send an RCS, and it will stay there, and you haven't gotten a text yet, right?
No.
I hit
thought-
send.
I am in airplane mode, so maybe that's...
So when I hit this, it says message delivers when Andrew is online, but it never gets there, and it just stays, and the person will not get my text until it auto backs up to SMS, or I just hit switch to SMS, and then it sends you an SMS. So this, you
Wait,
will
can you
not
try
get this text.
I have a dumb question.
Yeah.
I'm gonna...
Have you tried turning it off and on again?
Yes. I have tried turning it off and on again. I have tried disabling it on one phone and then enabling it on a different phone. I think my issue is I have switched phones so many times, and that when I switch phones, I don't like turn RCS off on one phone and then turn it on the other phone.
Yeah.
And I think that might be messing with it, because as of this particular phone, I have like 2 RCS chats that are working, and the rest all don't work, and they're backing all of them to SMS. And Andrew, you will not get that
yeah,
test.
and I just got other text messages.
Yep.
So.
Yeah. So you're not going to get it until, wait, see this?
Till eventually
Switch to
it's-
SMS. You're going to get it in like 2 seconds now, because it's just a regular SMS. See, there you go.
Can you try it with
It's
me?
funny because it still says RCS chat with Andrew.
Yeah, and it still thinks it's
and
an
now it says
RCS
you're-
chat.
Wait, it says you're typing right now.
Yeah.
Which
it
is
thinks
probably the other
it's-
one,
Yeah,
'cause
but
I
it will
sent
never
2.
go through.
Marquez, I
the
think
heck?
you're onto something though, because my This is like a known thing when you leave iMessage, where like your number's kind of tied up on the online service or whatever.
I think
and
it's the
because
same
you're
thing.
switching between Android phones that also now have this RCS enabled, that would be my guess.
I think the Jibe servers are like being pulled from one phone that isn't this phone, and so some other phone somewhere is logged in as
somewhere.
RCS
It's probably
for me.
right in the closet.
Well, the thing is, if I go boot up those other phones, they all say they're signed out. So even though this is the only one that says it's signed in, I think other phones are still getting these messages.
Yeah, that sounds about right.
Can you go into your Google account and sign out other accounts?
Sign
Not
out.
with RCS, I don't
No.
think.
You can
Okay.
go, yeah.
You can
I
like
don't
sign
know.
out of your Google account. But
There
I
was
hit-
a bug when I was testing the Pixel 9 where I was trying to get RCS to work and it was not working. And it was because I had not like turned RCS off on an old phone or something.
Right.
And then it wouldn't re-register it on the new device.
I think that's where I'm at right now.
Yeah.
So if anyone else is watching this video and has had the same issue and found a fix to it, please let me know. I will be trolling through the comments, digging between all of your hot takes about wired audio and iPhones.
You want an answer, but you already set
I did troll
everyone
so
off
hard.
on something else.
Yeah.
Protocols.
That seems super niche because you switch phones so much. But if that does occur to someone making a change and their old phone is broken or whatever, and they can't go back, that's like a significant
It's
issue.
been like a month of me not being able to chat with people in RCS on this phone.
But so every time you send like someone a message, you
Every
then have
time.
to go in and like
Yep.
you
And then
basically
hit the
have to
text
send
and then go
twice.
switch to SMS, and now you're going to get my text. Yeah.
Marcus,
I would've
have you
stopped
heard
texting people.
of WhatsApp?
I've heard of it, and I don't want to go down that road.
I just.
Yeah. So, yeah, we'll see if anyone hits me up in the comments. We're going to have to take one more quick break. We do have Crown and Clown after we get back, but before we get back, let's do trivia.
Trivia. All right. So what is wrong with Marquez's phone? That's the question. No, I'm joking. When
wish.
was AirDrop announced? You will get 1 point for the year, 2 points for the month and the year.
Ooh.
3 points for the day.
3 points for the day. Sure, why not? Let's do it.
4
That'd be
points for
impressive.
the announcer.
5 points for the hour.
Actually, I will give you 4 points if you could guess the announcer.
6 points.
Shaq.
6 points. 6 points if you could tell me what they ate for lunch before they announced it.
All right. We'll think about it. We'll be back after the break.
This would be the wildest way for me to come back. Support for Waveform comes from Liquid IV. How do you show yourself some love? Make a nice meal, trip to the gym, or maybe it's as simple as giving your body the gift of extraordinary hydration. For that, you might want to check out Liquid IV. With Liquid IV, you can break the mold and your own ritual. With just one stick plus 16 ounces of water, Liquid IV can give you an optimized ratio of electrolytes, essential vitamins, and clinically tested nutrients that turn ordinary water into extraordinary hydration. And they've got a variety of flavors to choose from. Flavors like acai berry and lemon lime to pina colada. Or choose from their line of sugar-free flavors like raspberry lemonade, white peach, and rainbow sherbet. Honestly, I've been using Liquid IV for like a few years. So when they reached out, I said yes about as fast as possible. It's my favorite way to stay hydrated when working out, when hiking, when playing disc golf. They've got really good flavors. One that I think no one talks about is golden cherry. It's the most underrated, but I agree. White peach, sugar-free is also fantastic. One last thing, they all come in packets to add to your water bottle, since I hate single-use plastic water bottles, and that's what most sports drink come in. So treat yourself to an extraordinary hydration from Liquid IV. Get 20% off your first order of Liquid IV when you go to liquidiv.com and use code WAVE at checkout. That's 20% off your first order with code WAVE, W-A-V-E, at liquidiv.com.
Welcome back. And now, because it is the last episode of the month, we are going to do Crown and Clown, which means that we are going to go around and say what we think is the best thing that happened this month, aka the Crown, and what is the worst thing that happened this month, aka the Clown.
Mm-hmm.
The trick is we all need to agree on what the Crown and the Clown is. So we have to convince each other of what it is.
Yes, and we're going to attempt to be more organized this month.
Sure. Being the
keyword.
An attempt was made. Let's just say that.
Yes.
So we're trying to be persuasive here.
Yes.
Yeah, let's do crowns first.
Yeah, make
Crown.
your case. Who wants to go first?
I will.
Okay.
Um,
This is for Crown.
okay, crown.
Yeah.
I think that my crown is that we did our first live Waveform show this
That's
month.
Oh,
We did. We sure
personally,
did.
Damn, that's
it's really
good.
hard to go against that one.
It was a good time.
Damn it, David. That's a
That
good
is
one.
funny because my crown comes from that.
Ooh.
But I do want to appreciate that it went really well.
Sorry. That was an alarm.
Yeah.
David, wake up.
I just wake up.
The whole thing was a dream.
Again?
Welcome to the podcast. What? No, that is a good one. So my crown comes from that. It's not exactly that, but I do want to appreciate that we did do that. It went really well. It was a good time. It gave me ideas about other ways that we could do that in the future, which is exciting. If we decide to go that route at some point, could be fun. Shout out to everyone who was there. Shout out to the questions. We did publish that as well. If you guys listen to that, I think that's pretty cool.
Yeah.
So
So what is yours that comes
But
Yeah, I
my-
think you should do it because
okay, sure. My crown, I keep having to think and make sure I say the right word, is Gemini Live with access to your camera launching in the last month. I have been using this a lot more than I thought I would. So
Really?
Gemini Live is a conversational Gemini where you pull up that like full screen thing, whatever. It has access to your screen, and then you can give it access to your camera. You open up the camera and you can just ask it about your surroundings and point it at stuff and ask it about what it's pointed at. It has not missed once.
Do it to us right now.
Yeah, ask it about us.
All right, let's do it.
we're supposed to be looking at the
So
camera.
what do you see here?
It looks like you're in a podcast studio. Are you getting ready to record a new episode?
Yeah, I'm about to record this episode with these two people here. Is there anything you think I should ask them?
That's awesome. Since you're podcasting with two people, you could explore the dynamic of their relationship. Ask them how they first met or what it's like working together. It often leads to interesting stories.
Now, here's what's fun. I want you to tell me about these headphones he's wearing. What are these?
Those are Audio-Technica ATH-M 50X headphones. They're pretty popular in the audio world, known for their clear sound and
It
comfort.
doesn't miss, dude.
Wow.
I've asked it about products.
Can I ask
I've
you what
asked it
watch
about
this is?
animals. Yeah, let's try it.
That is crazy. What about my watch? Because it's
What watch is this,
custom.
and is it any good?
I'm wondering because this is like the Phoenix basically stole from the Epix line, and
Wait, you confused it.
Yeah, we have to like one.
well,
person
it's
at a
not
time.
very good if it can't listen to two people talk at the same time. I know our audience loves when we talk over each other.
Gemini's just like, I will not partake.
Yeah. All right, let's try it. All right. So, what is this watch, and is it any good?
That's a Garmin Fenix 7. It's a really popular high-end GPS watch, known for its durability and tons of features. Do you have any specific activities in mind that you'd want to use it for?
No, but cancel that. I actually want you to tell me about this watch. I think it looks way cooler. What is this?
Hey,
Ah, that's a Casio AE1200WHD1A. It's a digital watch with a retro vibe. And yeah, it does look pretty cool.
what?
Are you thinking about getting one?
This is modified.
mine was a Phoenix 9,
Dude.
by the way.
That's crazy.
Yeah.
With the screen off, I might look at
This is like heavily modified to the point where you can barely tell that it's an AE 1200.
That's crazy.
Yeah. It's I've
That's
pointed it
wild.
at animals. It's told me about the animal. I've pointed it at products that like don't have labels on them, and it just knows what they are. I've been just asking it like how to do things around the house. It's genuinely shocking how useful it is. I don't actually have that many things I need to do with it, but I just keep finding reasons to use it because it's that good. This is my crown for the month. I think people should try it if they have it on their phone. You do need a subscription. It's really good. Try it out.
Wow.
That is interesting.
All right.
Surprised.
I'll do mine. I don't think it's as good as either of these, so I'm not doing a good job at convincing, but I do think it will be appreciated in here. Android 16 is going to let all Pixel phones use fingerprint unlock when the screen is off. And this will be going back to old Pixels as well.
Wait, why?
Fingerprint.
Because before you had
because
to tap on the screen
You had to
wake it
the
up.
screen up before you could use the fingerprint unlock under
That's
screen.
specific. Okay,
Well,
so
mine
that's
is-
I
interesting.
remember one time you saying one of the things you really liked about the Samsung phones is that you
Yes.
can
Yeah.
unlock them while the screen is off.
And
with
that's
your
because they use ultrasonic fingerprint readers that don't need to light up the screen to see your finger. On the ones with optical fingerprint readers under the display, what they do is they light up a little area, and then when you press that area, then it shines a bright white light just on your finger.
Yeah.
And there are some phones that don't do that. So just making them all do that is great.
Is this when you
Well,
don't
I'll
have
do that.
like always on display or something?
Yeah.
Yeah,
I think
don't
it's
use
whether
one.
you have
Oh.
always on or not. I think a lot of these phones understand that people just want to unlock it right away, and so they'll have a little area indicator of where to press. But some of them don't have that area. So you're saying Android 16 is going to make all of them that have an
It
under
says-
display fingerprint reader tell you where to press, and then when you press it, it'll unlock.
Pixel phones currently require the screen to be on for the fingerprint scanner to function. Thankfully, this limitation will be addressed in the upcoming Android 16 update for Pixel, and that they tested in settings, security and privacy, device unlock, face and fingerprint unlock. There's now a slider for screen off fingerprint unlock. And they said it also did work on their 6A and 7 Pro. They were using the beta,
Wow.
Pixel 7 Pro. Okay. Yeah.
which I've realized I didn't know was even a thing until I remember you mentioning it, and I use it on my S24 all the time now.
Yeah.
I was gonna say I didn't know that was a thing because mine just does that, but I think it's because I have always on display on, so it is like always.
Your
on.
Pixel does?
Yeah, the screen never
Mm.
actually turns off.
Yeah,
so there's
mine's always
always an
on.
area to like touch my
Mm.
finger and turn it on.
Okay.
Yeah. Nice. That's a good.
That
It's
is
a
a good
good
one.
feature. It's a good feature.
And
for
it's
sure.
good that they're adding it back and not pretending it can only happen in the
Yeah.
newest phones.
Yeah,
Okay.
interesting.
Adam, do you have a crown?
My crown was going to be. I had 3, but I'm just gonna pick one because I thought it was gonna be pretty unanimous, and none of you guys picked it. So I'm gonna pick the top one.
Mm.
I'm going with the Pixel 9a that came out this month.
Did it?
Did it?
Oh,
It was
I
in
didn't-
April. It got moved to April.
That's the
Did we
thing
talk
about
about
this.
Oh,
that?
that's
Delayed.
fair.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, we talked
All right,
about
then I'll
that.
go to my backup. The Sigma BF.
Ooh.
Oh, wow.
The Sigma boyfriend.
That
We-
thing is so. I still can't stop thinking about it.
Yeah,
it
it's
is
funny.
Great.
completely impractical, but
I wanna
so
borrow it.
cool.
The evolution of the coverage of this camera online has been so fun to watch because
Yeah.
it started off as like, what is Sigma doing? They made this really weird camera with no card slot, and it's also all metal and doesn't look ergonomic.
Doesn't have a
And then it
viewfinder.
shifted to, yeah, this is kind of what Apple would have done if they made a camera. It's really pretty, and it is a Sigma camera, and it's not that expensive. And then people got their hands on the camera and started shooting with it and using it because of all the attention. And suddenly it's like, okay, it doesn't have a viewfinder, but it is kind of fun to shoot with. And it does have a couple decently useful features. And suddenly it's like, this is kind of a friendly, like fun camera.
And the pictures are good.
And the pictures are solid. So
Yeah.
it's like, it went from being kind of novelty and a quirky, weird headline to suddenly an option for people to actually buy
Yeah.
in the last couple months.
Can't really use it outside when it's bright outside.
Yeah,
fine.
no viewfinder, no card slot. It still has
No
weird
articulating
quirks.
screen.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. But it's so freaking fast.
Yeah, and also those the
The
I
lenses are
series
affordable,
lenses, they're
yeah.
super affordable and feel insanely premium.
Yeah,
and also
Sigma.
affordable is still a few $100s, but in the lens
Yeah,
world,
but, like,
it's super affordable.
Come on.
Yeah,
Yeah.
What are you talking about here?
So that's mine.
pretty cool.
That's my
if you
crown.
said the silver version, I would agree with you, but you left it vague.
The
so
silver is also
Mm.
really hard to film, especially outside.
It just
it
reflects
looks
everything.
So good. It looks so good.
I'm not. I like
Yeah.
personally. I like looking at the silver one more. I think it's beautiful. But if I were to buy one, I probably would just get the black
Really?
one.
Same.
I'm not walking around with that giant silver
I get
block
the
or hanging
silver.
around
Oh,
my, my
I would
neck.
only
I
buy
get
that
the
if I
silver.
wanted everyone to see that I had it. So I would buy the silver one. Imagine
You
putting
say
this on
that.
the-
I think that's where I started when I was looking at this camera. I was like, oh, there's a black one, but you have to get the silver one. That's the whole point of this camera. Now I'm like, if I was really going to shoot with this,
Yeah,
I would
like
get
if you were actually gonna buy it.
I'll get the black one.
Yeah,
I get the silver.
silver, team silver.
you're both wrong. It's fine.
Interesting. Okay.
I think the image quality is so good.
So our crown options are our first South by Southwest success,
Live show.
Gemini Live,
Mhm.
looking through your camera. What was your
Android 16 fingerprint
Android,
unlock.
Fingerprint unlock.
fingerprint unlock toggle, and
Thank you, David.
and Sigma BF mirrorless camera.
How about we do this? We know the winner is all voting for ourselves at South by Southwest. So let's pick the second
easy.
winner.
I agree with you.
Yeah.
That's a good thing to do.
That's why I was like, damn it, David. You.
I would pick actually useful AI in your phone. I think that's got to be it.
I would pick that too.
Damn, I was gonna stick with my Sigma BF, but I guess I'm outvoted.
I think I'll go. I think the AI is the most useful and the most reasonable for most of our listeners
Sigma is
too.
cool.
My heart wants to pick the Sigma
The
BF.
Sigma is pretty.
That's what this
and
is
I do,
about.
I
It's
do.
where your heart leads.
This is the Sigma BF and the GFX 100 RF had like
That was my third option.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
They had very intense conversations online,
Mm-hmm.
and we don't get that intense of a conversation, especially about a camera, that often. I think especially the BF had even more conversation. So,
And who really convinced me about it was Viren at The Verge. When
Oh, yeah.
he posted his like videos and his pictures. I was like, oh man,
his
like this
photos
in
are-
in the hands of
photos are
someone who's
amazing.
capable, this thing was doing work.
yeah, his photos are
Yeah.
awesome. I might actually switch to the BF.
Oh, let's go.
Mm.
Come on, Marquez.
Considering Adam voted for the
It's just
AI.
we've been getting the Gemini, like it's been slowly being upgraded like continuously for like so long.
Yeah.
Can I ask you a question? How often are you using it? And can you give me a few examples of how you're using it? 'Cause that's
So-
always mine.
Sure. I pointed it at a bird in my yard the other day, and I said, "What is that?" And it told me what kind of bird it was because it looked kind of weird. And I was like, "What kind of bird is
Did you
this?"
fact check that?
I think I googled that name of a bird later, and it was right.
Okay.
That bird is
I pointed it
uranium
at a-
53.
I pointed it at okay, so it doesn't have to be pointed at one thing. I scanned the entire room of all the gym equipment and then asked me what can I do with this equipment, and it told me a bunch of different
No
workouts
way.
with all
What
the
kind
different
of
things.
smoothie
it's
can I
seen.
make with this gym equipment?
Yeah, so like the demo when
An
you have
omelet.
the the glasses on and look at something and it tells you what to make from those ingredients. You can just point it at 4 or 5 things and then ask it the question and it will do it.
Can
That's
it
kinda
do
cool.
multimodal on your screen? Like it can see what's on your screen?
You can see what's on your screen.
Can you open it right now and ask you why your RCS messages aren't going through?
Ooh.
Whoa.
If it solves that, I think it's
Yeah,
automatic
no,
winner
that's an
right now.
automatic winner. If
Okay.
it,
Here we go.
There's
That's crazy.
zero chance it does.
I don't know.
Also, is this the Sigma boyfriend or the Sigma Becca Versace?
Let's try this. So you can see this screen with a text message conversation. The message is not delivering, and I think it's an RCS issue. Can you tell me what the problem is?
Okay, I see what's going on. The message says, message delivers when David is online. And there's a button to switch to text, SMS/MMS. That means you're trying to send a message using RCS, but David isn't online or doesn't have RCS enabled.
Wrong.
If you switch to SMS/MMS, it'll send as a regular text message.
So here's the thing. David does have RCS, and so do I. So there must be some other issue.
Okay, since you both have RCS, let's try a few things. First, make sure your mobile data or Wi-Fi is on, as RCS needs internet. If that doesn't work, try starting your phone.
I don't really want to restart my phone.
Yeah.
I also have tried that before.
Yeah.
Well,
Okay, I understand.
All right, Sigma
all right,
BA.
guys, listen, we're pretty far from AGI, my friends.
I don't know. Now I'm in on the
It
AI.
tried. It tried.
Valiantly tried.
I can see that you have a problem.
I can see that.
In its defense, none of us could figure it
Yeah.
out. So
I understand
Yeah.
why that might upset you.
I've also pointed it at a YouTube video, and it read the title of the video and told me what the video would be about, so I didn't have to watch it.
Was it about that?
That's
That
terrible.
was right. Yeah, but
We're
it's
gonna
just
go under.
it's good at a lot of things.
How does
That's
it
all
handle
I'm saying.
clickbait that's not about what the title is?
Because it knew the video. It didn't just look at the title; it knew the video.
Whoa, really?
Yeah. So there's just a lot of things. Matter of fact, I'll just pull up this drone deliveries video we just did and see if it can tell me what this.
while
video
you
is
do
about.
that, there is someone on I think Twitter
Sick.
who's been replying to our auto posts about the video going live, and it ats a bot that does exactly this, and it'll
Oh,
take the video,
summarize it?
in like a paragraph or two.
So I've got it on my screen right now, right?
People just don't want to enjoy
Tell me what
anything
this
anymore.
YouTube video is about.
That's why I watch it 2x speed.
That looks like Marques Brownlee's video about the truth of drone deliveries. Did you have any questions about it?
What was his conclusion?
His conclusion was that while drone delivery is technically impressive, it's not as practical or widespread as some people think. He pointed out limitations like battery life, weather restrictions, and regulations that make it difficult to implement on a large scale.
That's both right and wrong.
Yeah.
It was a good guess.
Also,
Pretty good.
many people in our Indian audience have told us that drone delivery is actually quite popular in India, which is
In
surprising.
all of India, because India's huge.
I would not know.
There are some countries that were coming to the top of the comments. Ghana's another one that was like, yeah, we do that a lot here.
Hmm.
Yeah. Anyway, if I can't sway you guys on that,
I
I could switch to Sigma.
I think we might have to go Sigma BF.
All right.
Is the
Let's go.
crown.
All right, Sigma
Close
BF crown.
second.
Sigma, of course it's going to take.
Now we'll do our clown of the month of March 2025. Anyone want to take first dibs? First takers. Okay.
Adam's going? Okay.
Yeah.
So, have you guys seen the Saratoga water guy?
Yes.
Dude, crown for
Yeah.
sure.
No,
Crown.
no. How is that a crown?
Because I've never
You
seen
have
a
to explain
post.
this. You have to explain.
Yeah,
this.
okay.
I've never. Yeah. What is it? First of all, what is the video?
So it's like a video of a guy who's getting up at like 3 or 4 in the morning. No, I think it's like 3 in the morning or something like that.
Mhm.
And he's going through his like epic morning routine, but there's always Saratoga water in the shot, or he's
Mhm.
using it for like dumping his face in it with ice or something like that. And he's drinking it. The stock rose like 17% just off of this guy going viral or something.
Maybe the YouTubers do have an effect on the stocks.
Okay, yeah.
This was one of those cringy
how many views
daily
is it?
routine videos.
Yeah.
That this guy. I want to find out what his
that.
name was.
Ashton Hall.
Ashton Hall. He did this. He does a bunch of these, and this is a whole genre online. But it's basically picture the stereotypical like guy who wakes up at 3:30, dumps his face in ice water, does a workout, takes some work calls, has a whole day done by noon, eats healthy food, does everything perfectly, and you're like, wow, okay, whoop-de-doo, this guy's doing this most unrealistic thing ever. To me, it's a crown clearly for 2 reasons.
Okay. Convince me.
One, this guy is self-aware and is playing into it and is successfully getting a lot of views. I have never seen a post on Twitter get 600 million views.
What?
Until this one.
Are you sure that's real and not just like impressions?
I've
it's
never
always
seen 600 million
impressions.
impressions on Twitter either.
This says it's up to 742 million.
I've never seen anything get that many.
That's
And
crazy.
2, because now everyone's talking about it, and the company, which, let's be honest, is probably associated with him in some way, is getting a lot of free. And
I don't know that.
I don't think they are. I think it's just like I think he just picked a water that's like a more like it's a water that makes no sense to brush your teeth with and wash your face
Because
with.
it's expensive water.
It's like
Yeah.
nice. For reference, this is super niche to know this and to be a Top Chef watcher. But for like 20 seasons, Top Chef was sponsored by San Pellegrino, which is I'm sure a bottled water company
seen
you've heard
that.
of. The last 2 or 3 seasons, now their big sponsorship is Saratoga Spring Water, which is this. What this guy has done for Saratoga Spring is 10x what Top Chef has ever done
Agreed.
for this. And they're spending hundreds of thousands, if not millions of dollars.
agreed.
of
And now
advertising
everyone's
on it.
parodying it too, and they're
know.
buying the same water to do the parody videos. That is a huge crown as well.
My
So-
thing is, I know that now he's definitely aware of it and he's capitalizing on it.
Mhm.
I'm thinking back to how this started. Did he do this intentionally? Or did he just have the water there
Okay.
while going through a real legit morning routine?
I'll let you in on a little secret. There,
Oh God.
oh god.
remember when I told you guys there's like tons of different genres on YouTube? Like there's the Apple unboxing YouTube channel. There's the there's the I Only Modify Classic Porsches YouTube channel.
Uh-huh.
There are also lots and lots of inspirational YouTubers who just do routine videos. This is my makeup routine. This is my morning routine. If you go on YouTube, you will find endless of these videos. And as that got more and more popular, you got more and more extreme versions of it, the Huberman versions of this, where they're just like, I wake up at 3 o'clock in the morning and I write down my daily affirmations and I do an hour of yoga and then I do a cold plunge and then I eat my second breakfast.
Were you
and then
watching
I do
me this morning?
Like that's a real genre of YouTube, is unrealistic daily routine videos.
Yeah.
This one happened to catch fire and go viral, but I will tell you now, it is not unlike many hundreds of others that I unfortunately have seen. This guy found just the right combination of parody and self-awareness to be like, does this guy really think that this is realistic? Like, I think he nailed this video, and that's how we got 700 million views in a week and why we're all talking about it. And I think everyone else in this genre on YouTube is like, damn, this guy got it.
I think there's a 50-50 of this. I think he does do a lot of inspirational stuff, but is going in on the meme. Because like there's a part where he like wipes his face down with a banana peel.
Nobody does that and
yeah.
doesn't think this is going to go viral.
I think he turned parts into parody for sure. And then he posted a picture of like his shopping cart. It was just like Saratoga spring water and bananas. It's
Yeah.
like, you all know what this is for.
Yeah. I think there was not 1 second that this guy wasn't like thinking, how can I make this get a lot of views?
Okay,
Because
wait,
he's
so-
made a lot of these in the past.
Okay. So
and
you
he will
think this was
continue-
like premeditated?
I
and
think
it
so.
hit.
And I think that is why it's more of a crown than a clown,
I
in
guess
my opinion.
We'll never know, but if that's the case, I'll agree. But
Yeah.
I don't know. It seems like this trend needs to go away already. That's where I'm at.
It'll be gone by the time.
It's going to be
this
a
episode
meme for
comes out.
like 3 weeks probably.
Anyway, what was your guys' clowns?
Okay.
There's two real big ones that I know will be said that are.
You guys thinking that video matters?
Does someone want to go next?
I
or-
have a clown.
Okay.
My clown is the Dodge Charger EV.
Oh.
It's
I was thinking about that.
We've
actually.
talked about this. It's
Yeah.
the electric car that makes lots of loud noises like a gas car, but isn't as fun.
Yeah,
That one.
yeah.
Yeah, that's my clown.
It's a pretty good one.
Yeah. Only 240 miles of range.
Do you want to go or do you want me to
86
go?
grand for a Charger.
86.
Come on.
But it makes a fun noise.
Need I go on?
I think you should go because I'm still thinking.
Okay. I think there's two pretty big stories, and one of them is 23andMe going bankrupt and selling all of our DNA
yes.
data to the highest bidder. Feels like a giant clown.
Wait, did they sell already?
Not
They did
yet.
not sell yet.
They haven't sold, but it's up for sale, and that's
a problem.
feels
I should delete my account.
yeah, that feels super bad. I think there are some articles out there on how to like get as much as you can off of that as possible, but it, sending your DNA into one of those from the start didn't ever seem like a good idea, and now it kind of
I
is really
agree
proving
with
that
you, but counterpoint.
It was cool.
I was 18, and I thought that the tech industry was not going to become what it is.
Wait, what was the old Google saying?
I have
Don't
to-
be evil.
Don't be evil.
I think my clown is that I was not able to make it to the Atmosphere conference this last weekend, which is the AT Protocol's first conference for Blue Sky.
Leave it
Happened
up
in
to you
Seattle.
to somehow turn this into David's.
I was
So on brand.
stuck in Prague.
Social
and I
web.
couldn't make it to Seattle in time.
You were willing to make yourself the clown.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I vote for that.
Actually, I was the clown because I bought one of those insanely cheap tickets that you cannot change. And I only found out about the conference and that I could go after I bought the tickets. And I would have had to pay $1,000.
That
to
is
get,
clown
You
worthy.
hate to see it.
Yeah, clowning myself.
Were you
Now
on
you're-
Flying United by any chance?
Yeah, you reminded me of another clown.
I guess we'll always take the opportunity
There's-
to clown on a.
There was a story.
airline.
I don't know if you saw this on Twitter. Apparently, and this was corroborated. There was a flight that took off from LA on the way to China, and then 2 hours into the flight, it turned around and flew back, diverted to San Francisco because the pilot forgot his passport.
Yeah.
And I just want to be a fly on the wall for the moment that he had to announce that to everyone because he flew for 2 hours. Everyone thought, all right, time to post up, relax, chill.
at
And then the
that
plane starts
19-hour
doing that like turn around thing and starts going back. And I had to go, hey,
Whoops.
hey, everybody, we got to. Yeah, that must have been the worst in-flight announcement of all time.
The thing
And
too is that you can't say you can't like cover it up and say there's something wrong because you're already over the Pacific Ocean.
No,
And
you
you're
just
gonna
gotta own
freak
it.
everyone out.
And for the next 2 hours. And when they landed and
Yeah.
everybody got off the plane, they all just went, And everyone got a $15 meal voucher. That was their,
Hey,
was
this
their
said- yeah.
result.
2 meal vouchers.
Sorry, two $15
$30.
meal vouchers, which is for sure better than one. Yeah.
True.
So I'm going to say United Airlines, or at least that pilot in that moment, qualifies for the clown.
Bummer town.
It's got to be.
Who among us has not forgotten our passport though? Let's be real.
I did once.
Really? Me
Luckily,
too.
I had enough time, and this
too.
is extremely rare, to go back home, get it, and
Yeah.
go back to the airport.
I had the same thing happen.
It's crazy.
Yeah. What was I going to say? I don't remember.
So yours is flight-related clown.
Mine is a flight-related clown.
Yeah.
Yeah. But the AT Protocol conference did happen. It's called the Atmosphere Conference. I think it's super cool, and I will be at the next one.
Is
as
it
long as I
annual?
don't buy a cheap ticket.
Annual?
Hopefully.
You got to wait another year.
Yeah. How
Um,
about the Pixel 9A that was
getting
supposed to come
delayed?
out?
That was pretty.
Yeah,
So
but
the thing
to
is,
be
we're never
fair-
going to find out why. Right?
Yeah, they said a
never gonna-
potential component issue.
Which could be any of the
And
components.
To be fair, it's better to delay a product if
Agreed.
you've caught something early than to
For sure.
release it and have it go wrong.
Yeah, we don't know how careful they're being. We don't know if it's like, hey, 10 of them exploded, or if it's like, oh, one of the vibration motors was a little bit weird and we had to replace them all. It's like, I have no idea what severity of the issue is, but they've addressed it before shipping or taking pre-orders, and I think that's actually a good thing.
Yeah.
But yeah, we don't know what the thing is.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think it's selling our DNA to the highest bidder.
Selling our DNA. But they haven't done it yet.
Yeah.
So
They're trying.
Oh, they will.
Yeah.
I need to delete my data.
Everyone on here should look that up.
I did
see if it's even possible.
I did an Ancestry.com one a long time ago, and ever since then, they have consistently emailed me anytime someone gets added to my family tree, meaning someone else takes a test and it turns out they're related to me.
Yeah, in any way.
And sometimes it's someone that I know.
Cousin.
It's like my dad's cousin or something, and it'll be like, oh, your dad's cousin. I'm like, oh, super cool. I got one the other day that said, second cousin once removed. And I don't know what that means,
Yeah.
so I
Super
just
confusing.
just
That's
archived
Gemini.
it and moved on.
My crown is that I thought I had to unplug and replug my car in, but when I unplugged it, it was already at 95%.
Nice.
Oh, you're good.
Best thing that happened all month.
Imagine if your car had a Fratsonic exhaust.
Clown?
A Fratsonic chambered exhaust. 126 decibels.
Ooh.
Rumbles your car from the inside. Are the speakers good? No. But they're loud.
I love how competitive Marquez is. He
They're
just
really
lost
loud.
the crown vote by a hair.
I need this one.
I'll vote for Charger EV, although I'm pretty sure hundreds of millions of personal data getting sold is pretty bad.
That's worse. That's 100%. I'm voting for that, dude.
I can't vote for
23andMe?
it until it happens. As soon as it happens, I'll be on your side.
Yeah, but
we have to give them the benefit of the doubt. All they did was file for
Just
bankruptcy, and then every tech company went, does that mean that X company could buy it? That would be horrible, and it would, but it hasn't happened
I
yet.
feel like
But
there's
if they're for sale, someone will.
there's way too many tech companies building their like random offshoot LLC or whatever so they can buy it without it just being like Meta bought the 23andMe
Oh my
personal data
God.
privacy.
That would be the end times.
Paint me a picture. What's the worst that could happen?
I don't
They
know enough about it, but
Find your DNA. They
Mhm.
give it to people you don't want them to give it to.
Mm-hmm.
And then they know everything about you.
But it's not associated with me.
it's your DNA.
It's your DNA.
It literally is your association.
It wasn't the thing that it's not like individually associated with.
Yeah, but
the-
my
That's
question-
what I thought. That
But
was
my
confusing
question
about it.
that's confusing is like, then how do I log into my account and see my specific traits then? Because
They're saying that I think
you can
Yeah.
see your traits, but you can't see the data that is your DNA, like showing you the surface. They're surfacing information from the DNA that they analyzed.
So people could, but if the people they sold it to could see my traits,
They can see your traits.
so then
probably.
they know that I'm likely to grow back hair.
Whatever it tells you, they maybe can see that. I don't even know if that's true, but I don't think they can see your literal DNA.
Why would that? I don't know.
What do you have to hide in your DNA?
I don't know, dude. Look, there have been so many times in the tech industry where I thought that it couldn't be that bad. And every time it's even worse. I just,
Somebody bought my DNA. What's the worst that
What
could
could
happen?
Marquez is really trying to win this Charger EV being worse.
It's like,
Here's an article.
Okay.
Here's the worst that could happen if your DNA data is exposed.
Can't wait till his eyes open.
23andMe's bankruptcy has some consumer advocates warning customers of the DNA testing company to delete their accounts. Here's why.
I just took a DNA test. Turns out 23andMe
15 million
went
people.
bankrupt and sold my DNA.
Chapter 11 doesn't change how it stores or guards its data. Any buyer will have to comply by law. The problem is the applicable laws are incomplete and don't cover this emerging industry. For example, employers can't make hiring decisions based on genetic test results.
Yet.
Oh, God.
Well, that's a good law. But the law has nothing to say about applying genetic data to other forms of insurance, like life insurance.
Boom! It's
That's pretty bad.
Mm.
dude.
They might have
They're gonna
widespread
charge me
access.
more for my car insurance because I grow back hair.
or like
I don't actually
health
grow back hair.
insurance.
I feel like
Yeah.
it's wild that there's a lot
Yeah.
of people listening to this podcast that'll be like, what do you mean by health insurance? What do you guys have
Oh,
to do
God,
over here?
yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah,
that
just
seems like
Google
a
it.
pretty straightforward law.
That's well, the health insurance thing.
Cannot deny coverage based on genetic profile.
They'll find a way.
They'll find a way.
This feels like the little like progressive thing you put in your car to see how you drive around, except now it's just my DNA for my health insurance instead.
Before you
Andrew.
drive away in this car, spit in this tube.
Oh, your insurance went up. That's crazy.
All right, so I'll give you Marquez.
Mhm.
What are you voting for?
The Fratsonic chambered exhaust.
All right.
I think that's the worst thing that happened this month.
think it's worse.
Have you heard this car drive by 126 decibels of seriously, dude?
Yeah,
Every
but
time.
Does the car sell your DNA to insurance companies?
Doesn't say it doesn't.
Worse.
It loops an MP3.
It tells everyone that you drive by exactly who you are.
Oh,
You know?
All right.
Damn.
mic drop.
I'm just saying.
We'll let the comment section vote. How about that?
I don't.
We're gonna have to figure something out how to get
This
a
segment,
tiebreaker.
this segment being we all have to agree really threw it and made it hard.
This
yeah.
version of the segment was already the
Oh.
most polished out of all the
I thought we
ones
were
we've done so
democratic
far.
around here. Why aren't we just democratic?
All right, so I'm going Fratzog. Are you going Fratzog?
No.
Are you going Fratzog? Are you going Fratzog?
Over 23andMe potentially. Okay, here's what I'll say.
Okay.
I'm gonna go the Daytona.
Oh my god!
Specifically because nothing
yeah.
bad has happened yet.
Okay.
That's also my logic.
I understand
Okay.
politics so much better now.
Yeah.
This is always what happens behind closed doors.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Um.
The April clown could be catastrophic.
Yeah.
But here we are in March. Nothing's happened yet.
It's like, you know what? It's Marquez like, you know what? It hasn't happened yet. Next
Exactly.
month, April clown.
I'd like to
United
rescind
Health
my
now
vote.
owns 23andMe.
So, yeah, I think that's my only logical
Cool.
argument.
Here we go.
Yeah.
I agree.
Okay. Hell yeah.
What the
Join us on the logical train, David.
No, I don't know about this. Is more like the jury duty that just wants it
In
to be
fact,
over with.
in
so we all
fact, you
agree.
should be happy that they went bankrupt because they were going to do some crazy things with that information anyway. So they're
Why?
bankrupt.
They
That's
haven't
great.
yet.
Let you know.
Oh,
They were actually doing some pretty cool things, but
Yeah.
that's besides
Disagree.
the point.
Cool. Okay.
Okay, let's- let's-
We got them. Ladies and
can't
gentlemen, we got
believe-
them. What better time to do the trivia?
Oh my god.
All
Can I
right.
have a whiteboard and eraser?
This is running a little long probably, but it's fine. It's fine. We'll fix it in post. So, question. Oh, actually, first, quick update on the score because I forgot to do it last week. Marquez
Don't tell me.
with 13,
Okay.
Andrew with 6,
Okay.
David carrying the 2 with 15.
All right. Good.
Here we go.
I did think I was ahead by 2.
Yeah. Question 1. Which of these games was not available on the PS1? A. Gran Turismo. B. Crash Bandicoot. C. Final Fantasy. D. Call of Duty World at War. Or E. All of these were available on the PS1. Flip them and read. What do we got? Oh, God.
Okay. We are all on the same page here.
No, we're not.
Oh, that's not the same?
Yeah,
Wait.
we are. No, it is
Oh,
the
are
same.
we?
It is the same.
You
Oh,
said
yeah, there's an E. Sorry. Okay,
Yeah.
yeah, we all said
Okay.
Call
I
of
said
Duty.
D. You said Call of Duty. You said David is right. We all said D for Call of Duty.
I said, yeah.
Correct.
Heyo.
Was it that easy? I thought that was a
Yeah.
difficult one.
I was torn between C and D. I
All-
picked D.
Because
all the
Call of
other
Duty came
games-
out on PS2, so I thought that might trip you
Yeah,
up.
but Call of Duty feels newer than all those other games.
Call of Duty World
Call
of
of
War
Duty's
is the
super
second
old.
one also.
Yeah, that's
Oh.
kind of what I was hoping for.
Did the
But-
first one come out on
No.
PS1?
The first one was on
No.
PC only, I think.
Mm.
I played it on the computer.
There were computers back
Interesting,
then.
interesting. What's a computer?
What's a computer?
Question 2.
Was it on
When was
iPad?
AirDrop announced?
Airdrop. Okay, I got to think about
Airdrip.
this one. Airdrop.
AirDrop.
So
You
they
will get
had
1 point for the year,
Mm.
2 points for the month, 3 points for the month, day, and year, 4 points if you could tell me all of that plus who announced it.
Here.
Thank you.
Who announced it?
Yep.
Oh, the guy.
Yeah.
Or the person.
The person that announced it. Actually, I'll just make each of those things 1 point.
Wait, hold on. Hold on. I'm still writing.
Hold
Can
on,
you do it
hold on,
again?
hold on. No. Flip them and read, David. David.
Okay.
Okay. Who wants to go first?
Okay, so my logic is like
Wait, I'm such a
they had to have things to airdrop between. So I kind of tried to pick like right after the iPad came out. Maybe that was one.
shoot. Sorry.
So I said
Continue.
I went July 2010 just to be summer 2010, and I said it was Jaws.
I'm so
Unfortunately, you only got 1 point.
Okay.
The year.
The month. It was July.
That was July.
Yeah.
All right, my logic was my marker ran out of ink and I did not have a lot of time, so I wrote 3 things down very quickly.
That's okay.
2013,
Nope.
March, right? I know is wrong.
Nope.
And I wrote the 17th.
As who announced it?
I thought we were guessing the day also.
Well, yeah, if you wanted to.
You guess it.
No.
All right.
David?
Okay, look. I have to preempt this. I didn't mean what I wrote, but I guess I'm going to have to lay it out there.
Okay, what is
gonna
it?
Clown on me. Is it iOS 5?
Not a date.
Yeah.
Okay.
Now I'm like, oh, 2011.
But what did
But
you write?
I wrote 2007.
It was
actually
2011.
Oh, I was
I
the
think I just
closest.
thought iPhone and I wrote 2007, but
Yeah.
I meant to write 2011.
That's unfortunate.
I hate myself. Was that iOS 5, right?
I don't know.
Yeah, I'm a god. Okay,
Okay.
so I wrote June. But
June.
But my
No.
the
You never
thing-
wrote who
the-
announced it.
I was also gonna write Jaws, but I didn't.
Oh.
But what he ate for breakfast that morning
Was definitely an
scrambled
apple.
Frittata.
eggs. Scrambled eggs. What the frittata?
I want to petition
Airdrop was
for a
iOS
point
7.
for being the closest in date, but I'll let it slide.
Can anyone give me a point for knowing it was 2011 but not writing it?
No.
Nope.
No. The correct answer.
The thing is, I just thought of iPhone and I wrote.
Yeah, give us the correct
2007.
answer.
it
Adam.
was July 20th, 2011.
Yeah.
Announced by Phil Schiller.
Oh yeah.
Oh yeah,
Okay.
that's
Yeah.
Schiller.
Mr. Phil.
iOS 5, right?
No,
7.
7.
According to Andrew.
Airdrop.
iOS
Well,
7?
according to Google's AI overview.
I assumed it was a
That's-
dub reference, which is why I went with the summer.
I'm pretty sure that's
Good
And
call.
wrong.
it paid off. No matter what, I am 1 point closer to David, and that's all that matters here at the end of the day. Thank you for watching and listening. This is probably our rambliest, craziest episode in a
that's
while,
right.
Crazy one.
but that's just how it goes
We
sometimes.
don't have Ellis to rein us in.
Yeah, sometimes we don't have Ellis to rein us in, and we just go absolutely nuts. And now the comments are flaming me about lossless audio, and that's okay. Thanks for watching and listening. Catch you guys next week. Peace.
Goodbye.
Waveform was produced by Adam Molina and Ellis Rovin. We're part of the Vox Media Podcast Network, and our outro music was created by Vane Sill.
Bingo.
Let's go.
No, here, I'm asking Gemini. Based on this document, which is a podcast script, what should we title the episode?
Flip
Okay.
versus fold. Why not both? What about that?
Flip versus fold.
Oh, that's just such
Oh.
a...
And it rhymes.
Based on this document, the episode should be titled Episode 281.
Sick. Yo, that's not bad, Google.
Damn, that's good.
That is
That might
literally
do
what it was
numbers.
titled.
That might do numbers.